people meet via introduction, others at a bar, school, church, even online. Here's a story of how Lydia met someone without meeting them. How? Now, what does that mean? I'd like to introduce Lydia Devia.
Good morning, Toastmasters.
Good morning.
Good morning. Huh? Meow? What does that mean? Oh, that's just my love language for my honey. Meow. Okay. Well, you know, I actually knew him before I met him. What does that mean? You see, I was 13 years old in New York City, and my father would go back to the mother country, Colombia, and bring back LP records and other gifts and souvenirs from the old country. Now, what's an LP record? What does that mean? Well, year as old as I am, there are these spherical plastic items that come in a card case with a beautiful illustration of a smiling man sitting on a horse. It was Devia. So what does that mean? You see, I knew him before I met him. And we would play these records over and over again. And we would always we knew him. We fell in love with him through the music. I know you know about this. Come on, guys. How many of you? Anne Marie, Loretta Lynn. If you know them. Elvis Presley. Come on. I bet you figure this. I know Elvis Presley. I know he lives Graceland. That's in Tennessee. I bet you said to yourself once upon a time and said, you know, if I go to Tennessee, maybe I could ask a local there, hey, you know where Elvis's house is? You know where Elvis's house is? And I bet you they'll point you in the right direction. That was me. What does that mean? Well, you see, my father kept bringing records every year, from the same guy, until I was 17. I told my parents, when I graduated from high school, can I go to Colombia? I'm going to go look for this guy, Renee. And my mother said, sure, you pay for it. So since I was 14, I kept saving all my summer money and my summer job money, and I would go ahead and save it for this big trip to make it happen. Okay, fast forward, I get to Bogota, the capital of Colombia. And coming from NYC, my cousin wanted to impress. She took me to this beautiful, beautiful place. It was the newest thing up north in Colombia. It was called Unicentro. What does that mean? It means one center. The mall? Yes. Well, wait a minute. That was 43 years ago. 1979. Come on now, what do you expect? Come on, yeah, come on. 43 years ago, that was a big deal. Okay, give me a break. So then we go to a restaurant, and then while we're eating, I look, and there across the street, across the hall, there's a record shop, a real record shop. They had those back then. So we walk in the record shop, and she goes to her section, and I run to the cowboy section, and cowboy music, and I start pulling out the newest LPs from Devia. And she comes over after a while and says, what are you doing? This is Devia. This one, he's like the most famous guy in Colombia, the best singer, the best harpist, the best composer. She said, oh, you know me. I said, no. This is Devia. Devia. You can't know him. I know him. Come on now. You can't know him. He lives in Villavicencio, Colombia. He lives in a ranch somewhere. He's a cowboy. He's my friend. I know him. I'm sure. How do you know him? I mean, I'm here like, how do you know him? He goes to school with me. Now I knew she was lying. How could he go to school with you? What does that mean? He's an older person. He's like a grown man. You see, she got tired of fighting me. She said, I'll introduce you. I said, how are you going to introduce me? She says, come to school with me on Saturday. So we go to school on Saturday, and I'm looking at the, stretching my arms out through the halls, trying to get a peek at him, a glimpse of him. I sat through the classrooms with her. Nope, he wasn't there. I was devastated. So what does that mean? He's not here, she says. I mean, it could be. She says, yes, wait a minute. She goes to the teacher and says, didn't you see Renee today? She says, but he's on the list. He was on the roster. So you. I was downcast. What's going to happen? She said, I have an idea. I'll call him. Great. But at that time, there was no cell phones. So we had to get back home. And then she starts the rotary phone. And she does it. And on the other side, I go, a chirpy voice. Oh my God, my face lit up. It was so great. It was him. It was him. What does that mean? It means that this is a chapter for another time. That means goodbye.